guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing my November TBR. We are in transition, so very soon you shall see some fun Christmas shelves. I have a few videos planned for November, but I have a ton of content that's going to be coming out in December. We're going to be slightly more chill in November. There will be a Jinglebellathon announcement coming out very soon in probably just a couple days. For now, we're going to talk about my reading plans for November. So I'm back on finishing up some series. This is going to be my main goal for November. I did really good in September, October, not starting too many new series. So my entire goal for the year was to get down to 5 unfinished series. I think I'm at 13 currently, almost 12, but a lot of them I only have like 1 or 2 books, so I think it's doable. So I'm going to talk to you about the series I have left to finish and then a couple of extra books as well. Okay, first up I need to finish Name of the Star. I still have like 100 pages left in this book. I have not physically read very much in like the last 3 weeks. I have just been crashing and like falling asleep because we've had so much going on, but I need to finish this book and I'm assuming that I will like it, so I will read the next 2 in the series. I think I am going to do the next 2 on audio just so I can wrap it up a little bit quicker. I am enjoying this series overall. It's set in our time, but there are these mysterious Jack the Ripper style murders happening in London where our main character, I think she's from Louisiana, is attending school there, and then these murders start happening. They're wondering what's going on and who's like mimicking him, and they can't figure out what's happening, and there's like a little paranormal element. Really enjoying it, so I'm excited to see what the next 2 books are about, especially. Physically, besides finishing Name of the Star, the only series I have left that doesn't have an audio is The Island at the End of the World, and this is book 2, The Girl at the Center of the World. I read this first book during, I think, Hike-a-thon, and I read it in like 3 days. It was so good. It was very fast-paced and adrenaline-inducing. Basically, in the first book, there is a series of catastrophic events that happen in Hawaii. Our main character is from a smaller island, and she goes to the big island to have some medical work done because she has like epileptic seizures and different things like that. And then her and her father wind up getting stuck there as these like catastrophic events are happening, and it is wild and you're not entirely sure why certain things are happening, but they wind up getting like stuck on the island and things just kind of take a crazy apocalyptic turn. And then the ending of the first book was so interesting, so I'm very, very excited to read this next book in November. Okay, then we have the Monstrologist Series, which is the first one that I'm currently working on finishing up. So I'm going to be reading The Isle of Blood and then The Final Descent. Those are the 2 books that I have left from that series. It's a 4-book quartet. I am very enjoying it, but it is very gruesome and dark compared to the normal like young adult books that I read. So we have our main character, Will Henry. He is basically assisting this monstrologist who uncovers and learns more about monsters in our world, and not everyone believes in this. And his dad worked for him before, but his parents both died, so this monstrologist took him in as an apprentice, but really treats him more as like a solid apprentice. And he has kind of a rough upbringing. I think he's like 12 or 13, but he's aging as the books go on. And then you're also learning about all of this through a character in our time who is reading these journals and uncovering all these mysteries. So there are lots of creepy monsters in here and science experiments, and it's a little bit more gruesome and gory than what I normally like, but I'm a big baby, so it's not too bad. But I'm really enjoying the stories overall. They're so good, and I'm so attached to Will Henry. I'm starting the 3rd book soon, and then I'll jump into the 4th book, hopefully before the end of the month. Okay, this next series I'm kind of iffy about whether I'm doing this year or next year because I can leave 5 unfinished series on the list, so I haven't decided which ones entirely. That is through the Looking Glass War series. We have Seeing Red, which is the next one, and Arch Enemy. So this is a retelling of Alice in Wonderland. I believe they're considered young adult, and I really enjoyed the first book, but it definitely has like a proper English type writing style to it, and I might not be in the mood for that this fall, so we'll have to see. It has a lot of like war and different things happening in the story, and I did enjoy the first one. We'll see how I feel about these. I give myself permission to DNF series if I don't find them enjoyable anymore, but I do really want to read this and finish it up if I can. Next, we have the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So the final book of this trilogy just came out recently. I'm going to reread books 1 and 2 before I jump into the 3rd book. I read books 1 and 2 last year, and I really enjoyed them, but I don't remember quite enough before jumping into the next one. Stephanie Garber is one of my favorite authors ever, and the Caraval series is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. This is kind of a spin-off of it. I do recommend reading Caraval first, universe, but you don't necessarily have to. It just kind of mentions certain things in here a little bit, but you are following different characters overall. There's just one crossover character who's great. So we're following Evangeline Fox, and she has learned that the love of her life is going to marry somebody else, and she is desperate to stop the wedding, so she makes a deal with the charismatic and witty Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses given at the time of his choosing. But after Evangeline does the first kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is more dangerous than it seems. So that's kind of a loose synopsis. I'm beyond excited to get into the last book, but revisiting it as well. We have the Villains series, so I'm going to hold this one up because this is the only one that I currently own, and I don't even have the dust jacket for it. So these are small little novella books that are based on different Disney villains and their backstories. So I've read the first 3, but I recently reread the first 2, which was the Evil Queen from Snow White and the Beast, which I thought it was kind of strange, but the Beast in this series. But reread those 2. I'm going to reread the 3rd one, which is about Ursula, and then hopefully jump into the rest. This again is one that I might hang on to for next year because they're so good for Retoldathon, my retelling themed readathon. But we've got literally Hades in here, we've got Cruella, all different things, and they're very unique twists. They do need to be read in order though, because there are characters that cross over and it's kind of one big overarching story, at least from what I've read so far. There are 10 books in total, but they're all fairly short for the most part, and I'm enjoying them so far. Next is Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gielig. I recently read One Dark Window. I have 2 vlogs where I'm reading this. One is the Halloween party week, and one is the Halloween week reading vlog, if you're curious and want to go check it out. But this is part what I believe is a duology, and in our first book we have Elspeth, and she has a monster living in her head. In this world there is a disease that goes around, and when you get infected with dark magic. And this only happens to children, and they will either kill off the children or banish them. And Elspeth gets infected, but no one can hear the monster in her head, so her magic never presents itself. So she kind of gets away with being infected and like kind of keeping it a secret. Then she runs into a highwayman who winds up being the king's son, I believe, or the king's nephew. And she has these royal events that she needs to go to. There are these magical cards that everyone in the kingdom is trying to collect to ward off this disease, and when they collect them all it will like cure their curse. It is so cool. It is very hard to describe. There's a lot going on, but I so enjoyed this first book. It was slightly Caravel-esque with just a little bit more of like a darker vibe. I really loved it, so I'm very excited to see where the second book goes. Okay, now I have 3 books that are not on my unfinished series list that I'm going to try and squeeze in. The first one, and the one that I'm probably starting today, is Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I have not read this book yet. I don't know why. Sometimes I put off like books I'm really excited about or really popular ones until like the right time, whenever that is. So I'm very pumped to get into this because I want to see the movie. So this is a prequel to The Hunger Games, mostly focused around President Snow. So it's kind of like a villainous backstory. And I think we get to attend like the second Hunger Games in the book or something like that. And President Snow is one of the champions, like guardians that help them like prep for it. And I've heard it's amazing. I'm doing this one via audio, and the narrator, whose name I'm blanking on, but I absolutely love him. He was on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He's a good actor. He's a phenomenal singer. Does the audiobook for this, so I'm very, very, very excited to check it out. Okay, next kind of a random one. I have Marley by John Clinch. So this is an adult novel, and I know it's a twist on The Christmas Carol following Marley. So it says Marley was dead to begin with. Charles Dickens tells us this at the start of A Christmas Carol. But in John Clinch's ingenious novel, Jacob Marley, business partner of Ebenezer Scrooge, is very much alive. A rapacious and cunning boy who grows up to be a forager, a scoundrel, and the man who will be both the making and the undoing of Scrooge. So I think this again is kind of a villainous backstory. This is part of a video that I need to film for December. Give you a little bit of a sneak preview for that. I have no idea if I'm gonna like this. It's an older novel. I don't think it's going to be very Christmassy because it's not necessarily set around Christmas, but we'll see. I'm going to check it out and let you guys know. And lastly, hopefully, I made a mistake because I was planning on getting to Fourth Wing finally this month. I've been holding off so that I could binge books 1 and 2 all at once. I've somehow avoided most spoilers for this book, but I have a small dilemma. So I usually go and request my audiobooks like a month in advance just to make sure that the waits aren't long. And when I went to go get Fourth Wing, there was like 500 copies available because my library has like 3,000 copies because it's such a popular book. So I was like, perfect. And so I just put a hold in for Iron Flame, and that one is actually about to come in, but I never put a hold on Fourth Wing because it was available. Well, when I went to get it recently, now there is like a 9 and 12 week wait because I'm assuming everybody else is going to reread it or read it for the first time like I am, and I like missed the window. Sometimes they come in much quicker than what it says, so I'm hoping I will still get this in by the end of the month. I was going to do a reading vlog and everything, but if I don't, I'm either going to do it in December or January. You guys let me know. Should I save it for January and make this like a reading vlog thing? I always pick like a super popular hyped book for January anyway. Should I read it in December when I'm trying to mostly read Christmas books? I don't know. I probably won't do a vlog if I do it in December, so let me know what you guys think I should do. I'm doing the audio. Rebecca Solar is one of my favorite narrators and she narrates it. I got the first edition like 4 days before it went out of stock. This is like one of 3 new books that I bought this year, but I just had an instinct to get it, so hopefully I love it. Hopefully I can stay unspoiled, so let me know what I should do. So that is everything I'm gonna try to get to for November. I'm gonna keep it just a little bit more chill because it's the holiday season and I want to like watch some holiday movies and do some fun activities and things as well. But these are the ones that I kind of have on my brain. So let me know what your plan is for November. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Bright Side Girl. I'll be doing a lot of fun content over there as well. Let me know if you're excited for Jinglebellathon, which will be announced here very soon. And I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.